JavaScript 30. Shout out to Wes Boss for his free course on his website, wesboss.com. His day one challenge is to create a drum kit. What's going to happen is when you press a key, you're going to hear a noise and a fun little animation. In order to learn this exercise a little bit deeper, I didn't follow the drum kit example, but instead created my own version of that project. And here's the end effect. You press the D key, and you get that fun little noise and a little animation. The C, the Z, and finally the K. And a feature I'll point out in the code is that you can press a key repeatedly and hear the audio at the same time. So let's take a look at the code and see how this happens. But before we head there, let's point out this one website. I'm basically going to take the event key each time a key is pressed, and I go to this website, keycode.info, and if you press a key, it'll show you what event code is triggered for each key that you press. If you did a console.log of an event, you'll see this giant object, and one of the information held in that object is the event code. So I'm going to take that and use it in my code. Let's start with the HTML. I want to point out two things here. First, each one of these individual cards, and then this audio tag. And you'll notice inside both the card and the audio tag is this custom attribute called data-key. To make a custom attribute, you just add this data word dash, and then you can create whatever attribute that you want afterwards. And so for this instance, I've created a custom attribute called key, which is going to store the event trigger when you press down a key. And you'll notice that each card correlates with a specific audio file, which I have saved over here. Now for the CSS, I'm using Flexbox to keep everything nice and tidy and responsive. And I have this .playing class, which is in charge of all of the individual animations. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, change the border color, and add a box shadow. Now what happens on the JavaScript side is each time you press a key, I'm going to add this animation to the particular element that it's grabbed. And in the card div, I have this transition, which is going to last 0.07 of a second, and it will implement all of these different animations here. Now for the JavaScript, first thing I needed to do was actually add the event listener. When you do the tutorial online, which I recommend, this is the first thing that Wes Boss does, and then at the end he kind of shuffles things around. So that's why I'm starting at the end here. But you add an event listener, which is going to happen when you press a key, and when you press a key, it's going to invoke this play audio function. Now, play audio is going to do two things at once. It's going to grab the card div that has the key code of the key that you pressed, as well as the audio tag that has the same key code. So it grabs two tags at the same time, and it uses that key code to make sure that it's grabbing the two elements that are associated with one another. Now, this if statement is if you press a key for which there is no audio tag. Let's say you just press a key that I don't have an audio file for, well then the function is just going to end. But if there is an audio tag associated with that card, we want to reset the current time to 0, and this is what allows me to play a sound over and over again without the file having to finish first. When I pressed the one key multiple times and you kept hearing the sound playing over and over again, it's because I keep resetting the key or the time of that audio file to 0. Then the audio file plays, and I'm going to add that CSS class playing, which will trigger the animation that you saw, the border shadow and the border change in color. Then we're going to create a remove transition function. Let's go down here and take a look at how that happens. First, I'm going to grab all of the cards using their class, so they all have the class name card, and then I'm going to run this for each method and add an event listener. There is this transition end feature for event listener, which will invoke the remove transition function. So once the transition's finished after that 0.07 seconds, this function, this remove transition function, is going to run. Now, if you did a console log of all of the properties that are being looked at when this event occurs, you'll see that it covers a lot of different CSS classes, but I don't want all of the CSS classes removed. I just want this transform to be removed. That's why I have this if statement here. So once we've narrowed down which CSS classes I want removed, I'm going to run this remove method here, and it'll take care of that playing class, which controls all of the animations. So again, we have two functions here, one that's going to play the audio and simultaneously add the animation. I have a function that will make sure that it's only targeting the transform property, and then it'll remove that. And then I have some event listeners listed down here. Thank you.